In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. If you will recall, last Sunday, Sunday before last, actually, it was the second Sunday of Mauna. It said in the Gospel that the Lord was present. The Lord was present to heal. And I started off by saying, well, when was the Lord not present to heal? It doesn't mean that. It means, are you ready to be healed? So we look today at the Gospel, and it says that but I say to you who hear. Now, doesn't everybody hear? Because the people that don't hear, they don't know what's going on anyway, right? So if somebody is saying something, then you have to have ears to hear it. But do you have the ears to hear it in this same way? Are you really listening? You know what a person is. Everybody knows what a person is. I'm a person, you're a person, we're a person, they're a person. But person is a word that's come to us from the French into Middle English. But it originally meant the mask that in the Greek theater the actors wore. Now these masks were just as archetypal as the icons that we have. So if you saw somebody on stage wearing a mask, you knew immediately who that person was, right? Now, if you break the word down, and I've told you this before, pers means like through or by means of, perhaps. And son means sound. So in these masks that they had a megaphone, because in the areas where they had, like our Hollywood Bowl, it was a kind of a round thing, and they had the ability to project their voice by means of this. Now, some of us are blessed with bigger voices, and we don't need those things, but there were some wimpy Greeks. Father Arsenius and I, we don't need microphones. The sense of then being a person, right, means that I, as a person, I am speaking. And you can know that I am speaking. You can hear me speak. But do you hear the intent of the message? You may hear sound. You may hear sound, but you may not derive meaning from it. And this is the most important thing. To derive meaning, what the Lord is saying here. There are 8 categories of instruction in this. And the Lord is saying, do you wish to follow me? Do you know what it means to follow me? Do you know what we have together? Not a contract. A contract is the party of the first part declares something to the party of the second part, and when it's fulfilled, the contract is over. But we have a covenant. We have a covenant. The Lord had said, you will be my people and I will be your God. And this covenant is to death. So when you call yourself a Christian, if you don't approach this with your own integrity, you don't know it, and you have not heard what the Lord is saying now. Do you see my cross? This is where the covenant began. If you want to know my kingdom is of the cross, through the cross, by the cross. There is nothing in Christianity without the cross. If you think it is a popular way to feel good psychologically, because you have a big Father overarching you, and He's going to take care of everything, and if you pray to Him, it's going to come to pass, you have a false religion. You have a false religion, and you will not be saved. You cannot understand your religion and the name you have taken as Christians if you do not understand the cross. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. This is a time now where we have a cross as we walk into the church, and it's not here right now, but everybody knows how the Lord is on the cross. He has, as it says in Isaiah, written your names in the palms of his hand. It's written, graven. He is graven, inscribed. You write something, it can come off. You can wash it off. This is engraved. And what was it? It was the nail that penetrated his flesh. Each one of us has a life and death covenant if we are really Christians. And this is about our integrity. Now, these 8 things that he has asked us to do, it means going against almost everything our parents and our teachers and this society has taught us. Because we have been taught to compete. We have been taught to excel. We've been taught to distinguish ourselves. And all of this does is strengthen our ego. And when our ego is very strong, I cannot bear an insult. You insult me, I'll kill you. I remember my wife telling me one time, or actually it was her brother, that you take somebody, for those who are listening to this, you're not going to understand, but if you take your index finger and your thumb and you pinch the clothing on the shoulder of the person, as though it's something small, this is a great insult. To me, it's meaningless. I think somebody was trying to remove a piece of land. You'd have to ask Nick. Well, if you don't know this, this is something in Egypt. I took these words in faith. Now, someone may say to you, with all of these injunctions, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, pray for those who spitefully use you. If somebody hits you, offer your other cheek, don't hit him back. If somebody wants to take away your coat, give him your shirt also. It's a good thing we live in warm weather, isn't it? For whomsoever would take away your goods, don't ask them back. That reminds me of a lot of lawnmower jokes, right? Where the guy borrows a lawnmower and doesn't give it back for years and years. Guy's just being a good Christian on the other side. Someone else will say, well, that's not what it said in the Old Testament. All you have to do is to read Leviticus. It doesn't say that. It says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a foot for a foot. Now, why does it say that? This is the, we don't have this bifurcation between Old Testament and New Testament the way the Protestant churches do, or some other people given to an incorrect theology. It's one. But we have to realize that in this, as actors in the Old Testament, as people in the Old Testament, we were really primitive. We had to learn. It's like I say, you touch my kid, I'll kill you. Right? People say that. You've heard people say that. I know. But they're saying, no. If you're looking for justice, make certain that the justice is compensatory and not punitive. In other words, you take my $5, give me $5 back. Don't. You took my $5, that was my special Abraham Lincoln $5 bill. I want $100 for that. No, you couldn't do that. So they were teaching you over time how to refine your sense of right and wrong. But when Jesus came, he said, look, there's something else that's beyond that. And there is a reward for you doing it. The reward, however, isn't immediate. You have to postpone your sense of need and gratification. So yes, I've been wronged. We have a lawyer sitting in the front row, okay? So how many torts are there? More torts than in any bakery you could find. The important thing is that to be like Christ, to be called a Christian, to maintain your integrity, what must you do? You must imitate. Thomas à Kempis wrote a book with that title, Imitation of Christ. You must imitate the Lord in all of these things. Now, I told you about that wonderful Jewish rabbi, Joseph Soloveitchik. He said there are two kinds of Jews. There's the observant Jew, and then there's the yet-to-be observant Jew. He was a very optimistic person. Well, that's the same way we are. You and me, we don't meet the test. We aren't really Christian in the way that the Lord wants us to be. Remember what it says in the Bible. Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Anybody here perfect? No hands raised? Good. No hypocrites. I am a sinner. We bow. Both priests bow. The patriarch of our church bows. He says, forgive me, for I have sinned. It's important, though, that we keep focus on what we have been asked to do. And why have we been asked to do this? Because what is going to distinguish it? The Jews have all kinds of laws that don't make any sense at all, except to identify them as Jews. Circumcision. There's a big one right there. Circumcision. You don't need to be circumcised if you're a Christian. You will find that a Jew will not wear a garment with mixed fibers, will not wear cotton and wool mixed together. Jews don't do that. You will find that they have these laws of kashrut. You can eat this, you can't eat that. You can eat it with this, but you can't eat it with that. And on and on. And we get cheeseburgers and they don't. Christianity right there is you think I'm joking about things when I say that, because it sort of pokes fun at what other people are doing. But do you realize that when the conversion of the Slavs took place in 988, that the ruler had brought all of the different representatives of the religions, because he wanted his people to have a state religion to help them coalesce with a national identity. And, he heard what the Muslim had said, and he heard what the Jew had said, and he heard what the Christian had said. And, it's written that one of the reasons that he chose Christianity was because it's cold in his country and you need some wine. And the Muslims don't drink wine, but the Jews do. But then the Jews don't eat pig, and the Christians do. So pig and wine won the day. And that was a large part of what he thought. And people think, oh, that sounds specious. That doesn't sound right to me. Nobody could have something that is so incidental, be so pivotal in the choice of something so important. No. A lot of times when we're trying to do something for a family member, we have to go down to the basement to find the thing that we need to bring a smile to that person's face. And there are many of you in here that if you lose something or think that somebody has hurt you or somebody has insulted you, oh my goodness, what is your response? I'm not going to that church again. That priest, he's so and so and so. I'm not. Where's the Christianity? Oh, no. We hired the priest to be the Christian so that we could say, That's us. No, that's just him. And you have that same exact yoke that is placed on your neck as the one that I wear. Exactly the same yoke. Well, who can do all of these things? And it's we're not given much choice. He says, love your enemies, do good, lend, and your reward will be great. Because God himself, God the Father, he is merciful. And he said, then it comes into something else that I want to get into because I'll go on for too long. One of the fathers of the church wrote something, however, to remind the Lord that, Lord, you're asking much of us. And we want to remind you, Lord, that we were made from dirt. When someone's puffed up and someone is really thinking a lot of themselves, just remind them, you were made from the dust of the ground, and the Lord blew life into you and made you. So this is a very hard thing for me to pray, because as I'm praying this gospel with you today and giving the exposition, it proves to God, number one, that I know what I'm talking about. But number two, he's saying, well, if you know what you're talking about, that means you heard. See, you can't give the truth to anybody unless you have first heard. Did you hear what I told you today? Did you hear me? Or were you asleep or distracted or something else? Did you hear? Well, then you pass it on. And then in the passing of it on, it reiterates the position that now you know, so now you do. The Jews, by the way, when they were given the commandments from Mount Sinai, and it was the 10 commandments plus the 613 of Moses, and then the great Shema, in Arabic you say Esma. The Shema, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. They said, we will do, and then we'll understand. So we must start. How do you start? Take a deep breath when somebody comes to you and they are miserable humans. They are just the kind of human that you wish that you have the power to expunge. If you could just snap your fingers and this person would disappear, not only would you feel better, but the world would be better off. And then you try to listen. Somebody that you can't stand, and you try to listen. Somebody that is just so distracting in their behavior that it prevents you from the peace that you would have if you were just left alone. But you're patient. This is the beginning. You see, we are not Christians, but we are becoming Christians. And as we are on this road to perfection, one of us was taken, and you know his name, Father John Mikhail. He was a good servant. And the Lord took him. And the Lord took him suddenly. And the Lord took him without any announcement. He just took him. What can you be certain of? It was going to be the sweetest moment for John Mikhail that he had ever lived. The sweetest, the most wonderful moment, because now he was harvested by the master of the harvest. And as this desired and precious fruit, the Lord beholds him and says to him, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been honest in your conduct with a few things. I'm going to make you master over many things. Come, I'm inviting you into my joy that I have for you. I hope that is for each one of you, and I also hope that for myself. Glory be to God forever and ever.